This is our podcast 43, 42. What was last night?
42.
I think I'm going to stop.
It was magical is what it was.
Yeah.
I feel like a better man, at least a looser one.
Yeah. Anna Serena. Anna Banana.
This is
Said the first one was free. You wasn't kidding. Woo, I'm not paying for this other one.
I'm struggling with time of day, with day of the week.
Yeah,
Yes.
me too.
So I'm sorry if my numbers are wrong. This is 42. Is that correct?
No idea.
And it's
So-
Thursday, right?
So it sounds good.
This is Thursday. We are in Milwaukee at the Harley-Davidson Museum
Museum.
for the Harley 120th. Things have officially just begun here. And just talking to the museum already when I rolled in, they said that the guests have arrived before they put the plates out.
Right.
That they did not expect a crowd to be this large.
It wasn't supposed to open until 10, and they said it just was like backed up at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, lines out the merch door, lines out the museum door. So hopefully that's a good sign for what's to come for the rest of the weekend.
I said on a live feed that I did that they're expecting 150,000 bikers. That seems small. What are the metrics of this?
Yeah.
What are the metrics of this? Do you know?
That's sounds about right. Like for the 100th, it was like 200,000 or 300,000. I would say they're going to get the numbers like that this year, based on what I've seen already. I kept thinking that people were coming over to my house last night, and I woke up this morning and there was motorcycles parked all up and down the street, and
Was it really?
people I had no idea.
Did you have FOMO? Do you feel left out? Do you need a hug?
No.
I've got all of these.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Well, we're taking time this morning to talk with Dump Truck.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah.
Mr. Truck.
Only if you're in trouble.
First name Dump.
In fact, you should see my credit card. It actually says that.
Get out of here.
No, you just invited me. Why am I leaving? Serious. Oh, the girlfriend has it, but yeah.
Okay.
And it's the work business card.
Yeah.
The boss goes, figured you appreciate this. I'm like, well, thanks for all the awkward conversations every time I got to sign something. Feel like I'm always doing my taxes now.
Like having McLovin,
Oh, boy.
but even better.
Except I didn't come up with this one.
You didn't come up with that?
No, you're really not supposed to make up your own nickname. I don't know if people know that or not.
Oh, that's true.
But
Yeah,
that's a thing.
that's
That's
true.
a great fucking start to the show. What does
Yeah,
it mean, man?
yeah,
Why they call you Dump Truck?
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Well, it was 4th of July, 2001. A fantastic San Diego afternoon because, well, they fucking all are. I was in the Navy, so we'd been at sea for a while. And we were also the last all-male ship in the fleet. So what's the first thing you want to do whenever you hit the beach? You want to have a beer because you're also the only Navy that doesn't have alcohol on board for enlisted.
Wow.
All the other ones do. We also have a better track record, but whatever. And then I'd really just wanted to be in the room with not dudes.
Sure.
I don't have the ability to talk to any females because I was just on a floating locker room for 81 straight days. But if I could just not be around them and just go, there's more to everything. That's all I wanted to do. So it was me, 2 shipmates. We go to Ocean Beach to San Diego. They already had a bunch of civilian friends there. I'd met all of these people for the first time. It's 10 or 12 other folks. Bring a keg out to the beach, bury it in the sand because that's how you stay cold. And I just sat next to the keg because that's where they stored the beer. Fast forward 4 hours later, people are wrestling around, getting all good and tuned up, and I'm still sitting next to the keg, getting tuned up myself, not talking to anyone, which is rare because me talking is not a problem, me shutting up is. And the 4 of the dudes were wrestling, they toppled on top of me, and I ended up wearing most of my beer. I got a mouthful of sand, cup full of mud, completely butthurt, and they don't care. They're laughing, they're having a good time, they keep going. They're 20 feet away. I stand up, and I run as fast as I can, leading with my face in my chest. I'm talking just smash, 4 dudes. Boom, all of them hit the ground. The girl goes, oh my God, looks like a truck dumped everybody in one place. And then I've been fucked ever since, basically, with a 2-syllable word that just won't wash off. After the service, I got into radio, went back to Memphis where I graduated high school, and was a radio DJ there and a bouncer on Beale Street. So those 2 things right there, you're not getting rid of the name Dump Truck. And then women's roller derby after that became a big part of my life, and I was a women's roller derby announcer for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
Damn, dude.
And everyone's like, oh, that's your roller derby name. I was like, no, some of us show up. already, like for this environment. You have a roller derby name. I have a name. And then, I found a motorcycle community after that, and that's another world where, having a nickname is not unique. It's almost par for the course if you hang out with people long enough.
Right.
You have a whole story that's just behind somebody's name, which is great, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We just had one right now.
Yeah. That's not the story I thought you were going to tell.
I get that a lot. Very disappointed. No, there's absolutely nothing X-rated about it. I just ran over a bunch of people, and it looked like a truck dumped everybody in one spot. Which, oddly enough, when I became a bouncer, was my method. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would make way. If there's something happening over there and there's 50 people in between, there's going to be 20 people on the floor by the time I get to what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Did you learn that from playing football or
No, I did. It
sports?
just worked.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, it worked one time and
Yeah,
you're like,
I
all
didn't
right.
really do sports. I did some football like in middle school. I was the smallest guy on the team, but I had a size 14 shoe since I was 12. And I was like barely over 5 foot. You couldn't push me over if you fucking felt like it. I was a weeble wobble with daddy issues. Like it was just, I didn't know I had daddy issues yet. That was before therapy. But I could touch my knee just by like reaching my hand to my leg because my arms grew first, and then my feet grew first. I had no place being on a football field. But
It's like E.T.
apparently, I was pretty all right. At least I was mad enough to be first string right guard as the smallest guy in the football team.
Right.
I don't know how a lineman ends up being the smallest guy on the team, but
Fucking attitude goes a long way, man.
I had plenty of that. They coached some of it out of me. They did their job. But mostly I was in band. All of my grade school, the 1 year I did in college, and even in the military for a bit.
Really?
I was in drumline. Yeah, I was the number 6 drumline in the country.
No way.
I used to be really good at stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I know nothing about drum lines. Were you
how does that
a
work?
bass guy
It is
or
drum and bugle.
snare?
A little bit of everything. I played the quints or the tenors, so you got 5 drums in front of you, and you
Yep. Yeah, you carry
played them in all
carry the
sorts of
rack.
helicopter patterns and whatnot.
Yeah.
I was the drum gook for the bass drum line for a while, where you got 6 bass drums, they're all different sizes, so you play just the smallest parts of a song together, and it sounds like one drum. And that was probably the bulk of what I did as far as like the marching band part was concerned.
So you got some rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like when it came time for like orchestra season, I was on the marimbas, on the xylophones, and if there was anything being played on the timpani, I used to tune the timpanis in
What's
live
that?
action by ear. The really large kettle drums,
Got it.
the big fuzzy mallets.
Yeah.
Dump truck.
Dum, 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 dum.
I knew this was going to happen. This is a lot to unpack.
You got fucking Proc's on his heels right now, bro.
I don't like being on my heels.
He's like, his list is just like
Yes.
voluminous already.
He's like, Jesus, this is the intro.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
hang on. We introduced you as Dump Truck, but Scott, you alluded that he had another nickname. You said Dump Truck is better than Mr.
Oh,
Loving.
Shithead.
Oh, Mick Lovin.
What's that mean?
yeah.
That's from Superbad.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Superbad?
No, so
well,
that-
you should bring your aptitude down about 30 notches and then go watch that movie. It's like Idiocracy's second cousin.
Oh, have you seen Idiocracy?
Oh, man, yeah, we live it. But that's a whole other podcast.
100%. I keep telling everybody to go watch that damn movie. It's happening right
Yeah,
now.
and then also get a hug from somebody because that shit's real.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're gonna be sad.
Because
I've
I
never
wanted to
seen
make
it.
sure that no one here, I don't think anybody here has a nickname. Junior.
But
Yeah.
it's my name.
That's a nickname.
But
So,
that's-
like, my given name, I'm not going to say, but I am the second. And I was born in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I was raised in the swamps, Louisiana. And if you are down there and you name your son Junior anything, the first name doesn't exist. You're just Junior. And
Sure.
down there, it's not, hello, Junior. It's, hey, Junior. And my mama, oh, my shoe, I miss her so much. But she told me one day, just point blank, son, we may be rednecks, but we ain't right trash. You're the second. And I was like, well, apparently that's all it takes. It's just filling out the paperwork different, and we can just change our whole lives.
Well, in conclusion, no one here is named McLovin.
No,
Okay.
there are no McLovins here,
right.
although we are lovely.
Anna Serena said she did wrestle an alligator, had to fight one off. What about you? Raised in the swamps.
No, my mama used to have to rake out the sandbox in the backyard before we go Play-Doh.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
for real. Because
Yeah.
so the way the alligators work, they bury their eggs in it, and anything that comes by, they kill and lay on top of the egg. So when they hatch, their kids have something to eat. In this case,
No
that would have
way.
been my mother's children, also known as myself and my sister. So before we go out, like, you always got to walk around, check for the snakes in the typical spots, check for the gators. Like, we're in the cul-de-sac. We're in Bayou Lewis, which is Bayou Lewis, L'Ourse, not Lewis.
Okay.
And so, like, you'd have inclement weather days, and the weather's fine. And that's because there's probably 2 14-foot alligators in the playgrounds, and it's against
got
federal
it.
law to remove them.
Yeah.
And then we find out we have an inclement weather day on a nice day, so we know that there's wildlife on the playgrounds, and they don't let us go to school, so we have a day off. What do we do next? We go straight to school and start messing with the alligators. You had control over us, and you gave it away. Got a bunch of feral kids in the neighborhood, and you go, oh, there's big dinosaurs over there? Let's go throw rocks at it. What's the worst that can happen? Jimmy, no!
Can they run fast?
Straight they can,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you're not safe if you're elevated either, depending on your environment, because if they're in the water, they can come straight up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the tails are where the strength lies. That ass, dog.
They're like just giant muscles, or
They're huge.
Scott
Our
would say.
backyard neighbor, the Joas, they still live there, and they dug out a man-made pond. I don't think it's a pond anymore. It just looks like, well, what you would think an unkept swamp pond would look like.
Yep.
A hole. And literally just like went out there with the come along, like got everything out. Water filled its own, and then they just came right out of the swamp that's like 100 yards, maybe probably less, probably 50 yards away from the pond. And just go lay hooks out there and put meat on it and go out there whenever something was hanging.
No way.
All the time. Oh, man. So we're sitting at a picnic table, right? So there's a Ford Bronco right here, tailgate's down. I'm sitting, legs are dangling over the edge.
How old are you?
I'm probably about 7, because we're still in the swamp.
You're on the tailgate.
I'm sitting on the tailgate. There's an alligator right here, and Paul Joa's got the back open up, and he's teaching the neighbors about the anatomy. Like, this is what you do, this is what you don't touch, this is intended to leave alone, like blah, blah, blah. Well, when he shows everybody the tail, he hits the nerve, and the tail, and this, I mean, to me, it was a 150-foot long alligator.
Sure.
So it was probably like a 10-foot alligator, something sizable for sure. Hits the tail sweeps out, comes back, hits me in my shins. My face
Oh shit.
hits the top table, back of my head hits the tailgate, front of the face hits the bench, back of the head hits the bumper. Now you understand so much more about me. If I have those long pauses in the middle of a sentence, you know where it came from. And then I'm just on the ground crying, of course, you know. Everyone else laughing because the parents are assholes. And like, I had bruises in the shape of alligator scales on my shins.
No
Straight
way.
up. Well, I mean, it's just soft muscle.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the scales are not soft.
Or a pig with a long snout. What did you call it yesterday?
An anteater? What?
Scott equated an alligator to a pig with a long mouth.
A long pig. Yeah,
You need to come
pig
down
with
to
a long
Louisiana
mouth.
with me, and I will make sure that you never make that
I
comparison
think
ever
that's
again.
offensive, Scott.
You just called dinner a predator. I don't know how the predators like that.
But are they tasty?
Alligator, absolutely.
Yeah?
I mean, it really does taste very similar to chicken. It's just a little bit tougher, like
Okay.
a little bit, like
All
not
right.
much at all. But they're great. You can fry it up, little alligator tail balls.
All right. And
Balls.
barbecue?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, you can barbecue everything. You
Yeah,
get
yeah.
a stack of salami, you can barbecue it. And they do, and it's delicious.
I love salami on the grill.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
fuck yeah. Brings all the oils out. So good.
You grew up in southern Louisiana. And
Yeah.
You said you graduated high school in Memphis. What was that transition?
Transition was actually Texas. So my daddy was an oil man. When we were growing up, he was a roughneck.
So, they were oiling or drilling offshore Louisiana?
Offshore, yeah. So
Were
he'd be
those
gone for like
islands?
15
Did they
days.
helicopter you into those?
Yeah,
those
helicopter
islands?
or boat, depending on how far it is.
What are those called?
Well,
Rigs?
they're just derricks. Oil
Derricks.
derrick, yeah.
Like,
Or
it's a
oil
little,
rig,
it's
same
like a little,
thing.
It's like a little tiny town.
Yeah, it very much is. Still have a bunch of friends that work in that industry, but Dad'd be gone for like 15 or some odd days and be home for 6 or 8 and go back out there. And when the weather was good, he was also a BASS pro angler.
Brad.
That's bass for those people out there that also went to public schools. And so, like, whenever he wasn't on the oil rig, he was trophy training. And we lived on a houseboat in the summer times, like, just kind of popping around. Mom would go move the boat over there because Dad was going to finish his day over there. And hopefully we had fish to fry.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, it
Wild.
was great. Absolutely
So-
loved it. And then we went to Texas, and they were in the suburbs. And
So that you had some money or something. Dad made some money. And
he got a job. You know, it was still in the oil industry with Exxon, so he had to come up, moved out of the actual technician side of things and onto the sales side of things, because I am full of shit organically. It comes honestly from my father.
He's a talker.
He very much is. Really intelligent
bullshitter.
guy, and then comes from the level, right? So he understands to the nth degree what he is selling you because he used to do it in the field.
Sure.
And that is something that's really hard to find now. So, I mean, he's the only guy in his position that doesn't have a 5-year piece of paper.
Right.
But he's still telling everybody else what to do. You know, like he knows the job, he knows the industry. And, But we moved to Houston. He had a major come up, and that was my introduction to suburbia. There's some great things about it, like public pools in the summertime, which still blows my mind. Our public pools had shit swimming in it you weren't allowed to play with. But I mean, I was there for a lot of my grade school, the end of my elementary and the first half of my high school. We left Houston, Texas area in '96 when I was 16 and moved to Memphis. Then I finished high school in Memphis.
Why'd you move to Memphis?
Another energy company hired Dad. We're always following the oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad stayed together.
Yes, absolutely.
Your sister came with you.
Yeah, she had to.
Bummer.
My sister and I are close. We very much are. We fuck with each other so hard. It's a great relationship.
So where are your roots? You know, where are your strongest roots?
Your
widest roots.
I mean, for me, I consider myself to be from the swamp. Those were my first moments of happiness. I left when I was like 8, and you learn so much in those years, and you don't realize it. I didn't realize it until much later how much I actually learned before we even got to Texas. And to have as many vivid memories as I have of those ages, like a lot of people don't remember a lot of things about kindergarten years and whatnot. I mean, we were in the jungle. Like, there's a lot to remember.
Yeah.
You know? Hurricanes and wildlife, and then normal like South Louisiana life, and it was. I mean, I absolutely will always have a place in my heart for Louisiana. It's really important to me. I got to move back to it not too long ago, and it was for shorter than I would have liked because the place has changed, but that's home for me. Louisiana, definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
I recently read a book about the history of southern Louisiana and how diverse it really is. The Native American population, the French population, the African population, all melded to create that Creole culture.
It was one of the most forward-thinking areas in the country at that time for that reason. Like, if you weren't about the melting pot, you did not fit in. Big time. It's like whenever people all over the place, like if you don't love black culture, stay out of the South, man. Like, stay out of it. It's one of the things that I had to go back to. Like, I moved after Memphis, I moved to Denver, Colorado for a while, right? Denver, awesome place, wonderful people. No black people at all. And for me, that's really weird.
Right.
It just is. And I mean, not black people, just like people of all of the colors.
Right.
Like, I'm used to having all of that around and having people in my community from just not being so, whitewashed.
Yeah.
And it's just, the areas that you're in. So I left there and went to Long Beach, California after that for a while, which is super diverse. And I felt really good about that. But even still, it wasn't that culture that I grew up on. There's a certain amount of thickness to it. It's even the culture has a root.
Do you think you're Creole by culture? Is that?
No, I'm just blessed to have been not kicked out of the room. Like my backyard neighbors, they still speak French. Like, my girlfriend's from Quebec, and like whenever I brought her out there to the swamp and introduced her to the other family that helped raise me, for the first time in like 20 years, Marianne Joa got to sit there and speak French. And it was like a really, really cool moment. You could tell that her heart grew in that moment,
Yeah.
And there's a level of culture that's a part of southern Louisiana that is unique. Like New Orleans. New Orleans is like New Orleans. New Orleans is not like New Louisiana. It's not like Cajun land.
Right.
It's Creole, and it's a bigger mix of everything. Like, Louisiana is still Louisiana, and the swamp is like that. Like, you go to Creole in Louisiana, it's a whole other place, regardless of the counties, which are actually parishes, or the fact that people pay taxes to a government. It's a whole other. I mean, it's itself. It exists on its own. It has its own history.
Right.
It has its own music.
Right.
It has its own food. I mean,
It's almost like a separate country.
it very much is.
Yeah.
It very, very much is. That area is so beautiful.
Right on.
I'm blessed to have a little bit of that in me, and just to be in the room. Anytime I have to, quote unquote, have to go to Louisiana, I'm ready. Like, are we there yet?
Right.
It's
I'd
not
like
it's not
to
going
experience
Texas.
that with you. I don't have much history in Louisiana. I need to check it out.
It's really, really wonderful. And like, there's some people that I have down there that are newer to Louisiana, and when I got there, they were in the right parts of it. So we can still go and hang out in the swamp and not forget where you are.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
really a big thing. It's just being present. It's like, any of us go on these motorcycle trips to any of these exotic or nearby places. the biggest challenge is to put your phone down and be present.
Yeah.
And if you can do that in a place like the swamp, you'll really start to like vibe with it a bit.
Yeah, you
It's
tune
an
in,
energy.
start hearing
it's
it,
pure.
seeing
It
it.
hasn't been messed with. It's a scary place to most people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's everything there wants to eat you. It's like America's own Australia.
Yeah, I'd love to float around and, you know, back in the bayou. Just
I've got friends that have a kayak
fuck
company. We can go jump in those things. And
Have you been to New Orleans, Warren?
no.
oh wow, like, we
Have
gotta
you been?
go
Have you
eat.
been to Memphis? Because Memphis
Yeah.
is an
Yeah, but
introductory to the
I would
swamp,
say
if
so.
you will.
Absolutely, yeah.
I have been to Memphis, but briefly. You know, not anything to speak
We
of.
got some hanging to do there.
Yeah, we
bud.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You give kind of a timeline of your life. Navy. I forget the details. Roller derby was in there, but somewhere you said you ended up with motorcycle people.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in on that a little bit? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, I started riding off and on motorcycles. Have been around, but I really started riding motorcycles in like 2007, like every day. Got an '89 Sportster, still have it. Absolutely love it. Looking forward to rebuilding it this winter again. And that was just my escape. I've always been a little bit of, I don't know if a black sheep is the right way to say it, or a sore thumb or whatever, but I've always kind of stuck out on my own in my own family and like everywhere, not in a negative way. I'm just like, I'm me. Everyone else is them, and they get along cohesively, and I still get along wonderfully. Like, we all love each other, but I'm definitely me. When you see all the family photos, there's me. like, oh, look, this wonderful group of happy, what is that? There's a Yeti with a smile on. What's going on? But so it allowed me to, I don't know, be with me and really enjoy being with just me. And in Denver, Colorado is where I lived at the time, so I really learned how to ride in the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
And what a blessing.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Yeah.
an hour
How
later,
great.
you're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, give yourself
Amazing.
2 hours of ride and pick up your phone, figure out where it took you.
Right.
And then go, how do I get home?
Yeah.
What
And-
brought you to Denver?
Denver, I just hadn't been. I needed something different. So I was in Memphis.
It wasn't a woman. It wasn't
No,
a job.
I did a lot of drugs. I had a lot of fun. Partied my face off.
And you're
I was
how-
a little
at
bit
that
of a
time-
brute for a while as
at
a
that time
bouncer in Memphis, and I said, this isn't me. I need something else. That's literally what happened. I overdid it. I came out hot as hell. I said yes to everything except for sleep. And I was like, bro, what am I doing? I need to be doing something else. I was like, I have never lived near the mountains. I'm going to Denver. I mean, that was it. Had like 3 or 4 going away parties, and 2 weeks later, I was gone.
Nice.
Wow.
It takes one medium pizza to drive to Denver, by the way. I bought one before I left, and by the time I got to Littleton, which is just south of Denver, I ran out of pizza. So that's how long it takes you.
That's great.
I mean, if you don't like where you're at,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
really
yeah.
you go,
Just
I'm
pick up
going to
and
go
go.
do something else.
Yeah.
And guess what happens? Something else.
So but just having a motorcycle in Denver doesn't make you connected to motorcycle
I wasn't
people.
for a long time. So I got to Denver in 2006. I start riding every day in like 2007, and then I'm in women's roller derby at this point. There's a concert festival that starts to come through town, and they lost their MC, and it's Gnarls Barkley and Jack Daniels and Southern Comfort and all this stuff. And they're like, well, we just need a guy for one day. And one of the production crew was part of the roller derby crew and says, you need to get this guy dump truck. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So we get on Skype when that was still a regular thing, and got the gig. Still didn't understand what the gig was. Like, didn't realize that I was going to actually get paid a real wage and have responsibility and all that kind of stuff. Learned a lot. I mean, it was a very, very pro world just to walk into being a guy that says yes to things. And that turned into a very long career with Brown-Forman, Jack Daniels, and all of their brands doing their experiential marketing events and concert festivals. And that same year, through a random conversation I had with someone in production, not connected to anything that I'm doing, I get a phone call and says that I've got a client, it's the motor company, and they need an MC for Daytona Bike Week. Are you interested? I said, stop insulting me and book my flight, please, because my Sportster won't make it. And that was when I started doing all of the MC work for Harley-Davidson Motor Company at all of the rallies, and shortly after that, it turned into all of the NHRA races, all of the international motorcycle shows, when that was a thing, when it was like 15 dates and whatnot. So, I mean, this is 12 months out of the year. And I didn't have an address. I lived on a motorcycle. I had an 07 Street Glide that I lived with for about 110,000 miles an hour by the end of the whole story.
Yeah.
And for 9.5 years, I didn't have an address. I had some people that were real nice to me. I had a few different storage units, and I would just swap stuff out depending on where you are, is where you keep your coats and you always know like kind of the
Right.
circle it's going to be in because the events are on a schedule.
Okay.
And so since that was my schedule, you kind of place all your things and just sleep on the ground, say thanks, get a gig, you get a hotel. All right, I get to shower. Back on the road and just road dogging it, living it. You have no overhead, plenty of work. I don't have a job, but I have plenty of work.
Right.
So why do I want an address? To be anchored somewhere? I mean, I was looking for answers. I was doing like a lot of things.
Right.
And the only way for me to be present was to literally get rid of everything else. And honestly, the only way for me to make money is to not fly. Like when it came down to like the beginning of my full-time life on the motorcycle, instead of these road trip things, it was like, okay, so I only have this much money to plan this tour. How do I get the most out of it? And the answer was ride your motorcycle. I was like, well, threaten me with a good time. I'm going to show up early, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a different way of thinking, man. It's not normal,
No.
right?
Yeah.
And to,
Thankfully.
that's such a foreign thing to people to even just talk about and try to fathom or soak in.
Well,
you
I
don't
mean,
have an address.
I didn't.
You don't have a house.
Right.
What
We're
the
like,
fuck
so
you talking about?
how do you get your mail? I'm like, I wouldn't know. I haven't
Mail?
missed it. Just because it shows up without you doesn't mean you miss it. It means you weren't there for it. Those
Yeah.
are not the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
especially now in the digital age, you really don't need an address. Now everyone can pay you electronically.
They
and
call
they
it
do a lot.
a digital nomad, right?
Yeah.
It's a new term.
Yeah.
It's the new way of life. You have an agent?
No.
You know? No?
No, I'm just real nice and I show up on time.
Yeah, there's a lot to that, man.
Try to be
Answer
easy
your
to work
phone,
with, yeah.
say, do what you say.
Sometimes I still have to disappear, but
Well, you haven't changed. You're still living that life. You talk about that like it's the past. You're still a digital nomad.
yeah, very much. Yeah.
Okay. Did you find answers? You don't have to go into the long form of that, but you said you were
Yeah.
looking for answers. Did
Every
you find
trip,
them?
Every trip, I absolutely did. So, especially when I was doing NHRA work, it's really labor intensive. If you look at the schedule,
Are those cars or
The-
bikes specifically?
both.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got pro stock car, you got top fuel, you've got a lot of different
Well,
classes of
I don't
auto,
wanna-
pro
I don't
stock
wanna, I
motorcycle.
don't want to disrespect you, but is an MC really needed at a drag race?
Can they hear an
Can
MC?
you
at a
really
drag
hear an
race?
MC at a drag race?
If you came to mine,
His
you would have
voice,
to ask
yeah.
that question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with yes for $500.
But I cut you off. What were you saying about what the NHRA is? Tell me a little more about it.
Before I knew that I had things to work out, I decided to try and be better anyways. I knew I had anxiety. I didn't know what anxiety was. I knew that I had this. I knew that I had that. I knew that I didn't agree with a lot of the training that I got as a young man. And I was out there figuring it out for myself.
Training like how to be a man, or training
Like, this is the worldview.
Life.
And my worldview is not the same as how I was brought up. There are some similarities for sure. But overall, and it's really why I joined the Navy, was to go see the world and make up my own damn mind. Like,
Right.
Not many people join the military for enlightenment.
Right.
But at that point in my life, like I was brought up like pretty sheltered, really conservative, a lot of no, don't do this, don't do that, don't go there, don't blah, blah. And so like when the finger stopped shaking in my face, I said yes to everything. And at the same time, I still wasn't independent. So I was like, what's the one thing I can do while I can see the world and no one can tell me no? Well, the military, because no matter what your parents think, they come to pick you up anyway.
Yeah, the dump truck's preacher's daughter story.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was brought up to be a Pentecostal preacher.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very literally like the denomination was going to handpick myself and others to give a full ride to college for seminary, and like that was going to be my path. I mean, I still preach and talk too much into a microphone, but it's about things you can touch, things that I've experienced, and stuff I actually know.
Well, someone gave you a language for this spirituality. Growing up, it was around your home.
Yeah,
This enlightenment that you've carried with you your whole life. You
Yeah.
have a language for it.
I feel like I've been trying to figure out what it was for so long. The language just kind of figured itself out. And like, for me to like continue growing, living on a motorcycle at this point and not traveling the actual globe to this country, that country, that country, that country. The way to me to figure out what was going on was like to be really present and like to reflect and like to check in with yourself a lot, which if you're not doing that, you should be. It's really, really, really healthy.
You do this? You do have a routine daily? You do a little yoga, little
My girlfriend
meditation?
does a lot of yoga. It looks great. I'm not ready. But yeah, in the mornings I do have a little bit of a ritual, and at this point I very much had a ritual.
Tell me as a personal level, forget the interview.
Sure.
What can I do to be more mindful, present? What's a routine? What's one small thing I need to work into my daily routine to be more present?
Well, I can tell you the way that I did it. So the way that I did it was whenever I would leave the drag racing track, was very big in NHRA. I learned a lot about myself, a lot of things I didn't like, a lot of things that I didn't know that I was doing that I didn't like. And I can only be honest with myself when it's just myself. And there's no better time to be by yourself than when you're holding the throttle. And even when you're with 30 people, it's still a singular action.
Right.
And I would literally go, okay, who is the first person I saw on Thursday when I pulled up to the track? Was I honest? Was I, did I talk too much? Did I showboat? Did I listen? I literally went and tried to remember almost every single conversation, or at least how I felt about the interactions. And you never remember them all, and that wasn't the point. The point was, what kind of person am I being? How am I affecting the world around me? And that is something that I hadn't really seen be important to people in my life. And it's something that has driven me just to the point of angst. Like, how do you not give a shit about how you affect the world around you?
Right.
Like, your opinion, I'm sorry, it just isn't that important. Like, it's not. That's why it's yours. Like, it's your opinion. It's not a fact. We may not agree on everything. I fucking hope we don't agree on everything, really. But there needs to be room for that.
Right.
Not like an opportunity for friction. It's an opportunity to listen.
Yeah, you don't instantly get butthurt,
No.
clam up, and then, don't listen to anybody.
My favorite people in our community are people that I don't always align with, but I can communicate with. That's growth. That's where you grow. Whenever the hard stuff. If you never do anything hard, you're never going to grow anywhere at all. Oh, I don't know how to weld. I'm that person. I don't know how to weld. Do I want to learn how to weld? Yeah. What do I need to do? Go hang out with a welder and speak. Say that you have this need for knowledge, and people will give it to you. You never get 100% of the stuff you don't ask for.
Right. Yeah, you got to put yourself
That's
out
true.
there.
You do. I mean, and that's the only way I've learned anything. Welding's on my list. I now work with a company that does nothing but weld all day long. I mean, there are 15 people within 20 feet of me that weld every day. If I don't know how to weld by the time 2024 hits, at least really poorly, then that's on me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
Grab it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you try to, at the end of your day, you
Yeah.
try to take mental notes
Very much.
of the conversations you've had, and you try to preserve them.
Yeah, I really do. Because I don't see what's on the outside a lot. I'm known for being really fun and jovial and tow trucks here, party, yeah. And I don't ever want that to change. But there's some days to where what I portray isn't what I feel, and which is one of the reasons why I felt it so necessary to reflect with intent that way. I'm like, okay, so what am I doing? I was causing these moments of conflict probably because I didn't understand how to translate my passion in a digestible way.
Right.
Like,
You're just
can't
trying to
be like,
slam it down
"Bro."
everybody's fucking
yeah,
throat.
you can't do that. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to eat it like an elephant.
Well, when I see you throughout this weekend, and you're like, "Hey, let's party," how do I know it's sincere then?
Because I said it. I mean, I did. Let's party. That could mean a lot of stuff. We could get wasted. We could not.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, whatever libation or vice that you appreciate has nothing to do with having a good time.
Yes.
I mean, I have had great times sober as a ghost, staring at the moon in the middle of nowhere with not another soul in sight. But there's action in me, right? There's a party going on. Something is being moved.
Yeah.
To me, that's what a party is. Something's being moved. Whether it's shots,
Yeah, right.
or hey man, pass that.
Yeah.
Or I just missed you. Let's sit down and talk for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, if you're stirring things up, I mean, there's a quality to that.
Do you ever
yeah.
say, "Hey, I need some time for myself"?
Have to. I usually hide. I'm really extroverted. When it comes down to it, I'm introverted. And people are like, "Wow, it must be awesome just always being in the middle of people." I was like, 90% of the time, look at where I'm talking on a microphone. They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "It's on stage." They're like, "Well, yeah." It's like, "How close is the closest person to me from up there?" And they go, "Oh." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm actually pretty introverted. Doesn't mean I don't like to party with a bunch of people, but I like to do it like this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I love giving. I love giving my energy. I love sharing my energy. I get lots of joy seeing the effect I have on the environment around me because I really work hard at making that positive. And there's also a time to turn that the fuck off. Whenever I've been on a microphone all day long at Sturgis or something like that, or even at Mama Tried when we're doing stuff here. And we're going to do a lot with Mama Tried and Sturgis this year over at Full Throttle Saloon, which I'm stoked for.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But when it's over, don't be surprised if you're doing this. And I am 5 minutes off the microphone and you can't find me.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm probably in
Good
that
for
tent
you.
that's all zipped up, that no noise is coming from, and I'm telling whoever's sitting in there with me to be quiet and just roll the joint. Like,
Shut your mouth.
because if I say one thing, this is my voice every day, it sticks out everywhere you go. If I say one thing, and I hear people going, "Hey, where's Dump Truck? Let's party with Dump Truck." And I'm in the tent like 5 feet from them going, "Just roll the joint."
Let's talk a little bit about your voice. Let's zoom in a little bit about your voice.
Yeah.
You have a unique voice, audibly.
Right.
You have an eloquent, what, cadence?
Yeah, that's the right way.
You flow well. It's easy on the ears the way that you flow, and you're
you flirting with me?
You're a witty dude. just zooming in on your on the tone of your voice. Why is it unique? Is this something you've always had? You were always born with this?
No, I used to make my voice. This used to be like a voice that I did when a radio microphone came on when I was in Memphis still. And then I was a really, really late bloomer. Like, I was not a man until I was like late 20s. My feet may have grew when I was 12, but that's about it. I filled out all right. Okay.
All right.
I got hair in all the places. But I mean, my voice has always been like a little bit lower, but I literally got whooping cough as an adult. And so there are little calcium deposits that you can have removed, and it'll make everything sound normal because they're not damaging. Now, there is a version of that where you have polyps, and it can cause damage, and you'll be one of those people with no voice later in life, but this isn't it. And I was just like, literally, it makes people happy. Like, why would I change that? I have a tool that I didn't have before,
Right.
and I need to hone it.
It didn't happen. It slowly happened. It happened within
It
a week.
happened really fast.
Yeah?
It happened over a couple of months. Yeah, like, I mean, I couldn't keep food down. It was how hard I was
Holy
coughing.
shit.
Like, it was violent. Like, it was bad. Like, really, really, really bad. And I didn't know if it was because of lifestyle choices, because I wasn't making a whole lot of good ones. I mean, I had fun. I didn't know what it was. And it was just, I ended up having really, it was rare. Like, whooping cough as an adult doesn't happen really often.
Yeah. Never hear that.
And yeah, I'm special.
Well, thanks for sharing that, because that's an uncomfortable question to ask, and you took it well. I've got a couple more questions, and I don't want to dominate here, which I often
got
do.
one.
I'm sorry, guys.
What?
Go ahead.
When was the tuxedo Speedo born?
That's really great.
Because I think you were
really
wearing
great
it the
question.
first time I met you.
And we're still friends.
Give me some context here, Warren. Give me some context.
Yeah.
I mean, you see Dump Truck's frame.
Yeah.
All right.
Good looking
Nothing
frame.
but
Hang on.
a Speedo that has the tuxedo print on it.
Google
It looks-
will enlighten us. There was a time to
Is
where
there
if
enough
you Googled
fabric there to have an elaborate?
covers
I
the
mean, after
appropriate
the age
parts.
of 25, barely. Before the age of 25, so much fabric.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Tux Speedo. If you Googled the word Tux Speedo and looked for images in the past, I used to be the first image that popped up.
No way.
Oh yeah, my parents were proud.
Well, here's, what's great about your body, though, is it's.
Oh, tell
it's-
me.
It's firm.
Yeah. I may be round in places, but if you run into it, you're gonna bounce off it.
like a hard-boiled egg.
Oh, here,
Like
see,
a
now this is perfect.
hard-boiled egg.
This is actually, you want to talk about motorcycle community? I didn't have one. To get back on that story, I may have been the voice of Harley-Davidson for a very long time, but I didn't have a motorcycle community. There were really wonderful people that worked for the motor company that I hung out with after work and all day at work, whether it be on Lozelle and Sturgis or here at the museum. I'm looking around with people having a great time, and I kept going, I'm supposed to be one of these people. Like, I'm in the wrong place.
On the wrong side.
I mean, I'm in a great place. I mean, how many people get the opportunity to do what I've been able to do with such a great historic heritage brand that I'm passionate about every single day? But it just, like, the community part wasn't there. And then I was on break from tour. I had like 2 weeks off, and then I found out about this event called the El Diablo Run.
Oh boy.
And this is 2013.
Yeah.
I found out about it the night before. And I was just finished announcing for the LA Derby Dolls. And one of the fans comes up and goes, have you heard about the El Diablo Run?
That's a good look.
I'm telling you, man, I look good.
You know, Proc has some history with Speedos.
Yeah, my Speedo does not look that good. my Speedo's a little saggy, little poopy.
So the Tuxedo started in roller derby. I was in the Bay Area with the Bay Area Derby girls, and we were hanging out, and an image randomly popped up, and I died laughing. And in roller derby, I was also known for what I wear. I dress like Officer Dangle from Reno 911 pretty regularly. Me and Booty Shorts, we go way back, regardless of the booty. And they saw that, goes, dump truck, if you'll throw your bathing suit away, we'll order this for you right now, but you have to wear this for the rest of the year. I was like, you're acting like this is a threat. It's like, any male that's been in the military does not give any fucks about how they're seen with no shirt or pants on. Like, it's fine.
Right.
And so that happened, and I didn't have another bathing suit to bring to Mexico. So then I'm go to El Diablo run in San Felipe, running around like an idiot, like everyone else, wearing no clothes other than a Speedo. You're going to make some friends because us biker people have problems. And we like other people with similar issues. So it was like moths to a flame.
That's awesome.
But El Diablo Run 2013, that was when I actually found community. I left that event thinking regularly, like, how am I going to like stay in contact with these people? I don't want to be forgotten.
Yeah.
I've never met people like this before. I think I may have found the other place that's not women's roller derby. That's for me, because women's roller derby was a home. I've developed as a human being there. I have family. I've seen roller derby family members here in Milwaukee since we've been here, and I haven't been here 24 hours.
Wow.
Like, it's such a big thing. And then I was like, wow, this exists in motorcycling. It can't be forgotten. Like, I can't be forgotten. I don't think I'm that memorable, regardless of whatever. Like, I'm just doing me. And so fast forward 6 months or so, tour breaks again. I'm back in Southern California. There's another event, Escape to Hazard County, that no longer exists, but was dope when it did. I show up with a big bag of salad and 2 bottles of Bullet bourbon. And I said, I don't know if y'all remember me or not, but I'm Dump Truck. Who wants to party? And everyone says, Dump Truck, we can't do remember. I did everything but cry, you know? And it was just, it was awesome. And that was when the actual community and, like, family, like, and really a lot of education on, like, what a motorcycle really is started to happen for me. And, I mean, that was, thank you, Built Well. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Still is a big deal.
Yeah.
Did you jump in the Coctagon in that thing?
No, I did not.
Oh, just wondering about that.
But my buddy Noah did the next year, and he was wearing a tuxedo because I couldn't make it, and he won. Rest in peace,
The
Noah.
Coctagon is they draw a big dick
Yeah, well,
on
we
the
know.
ground. Wiffle ball.
This could
Wiffle
be,
ball
if
bats.
these podcasts can be
Have we talked about that?
can be
Hashtag.
microfished. Coctagon is a theme.
a running theme.
Microfiche. Wow, you just took me back to library cards.
We've got to wrap it up. Actually, I'm sorry,
I get
Dump
that a
Truck.
lot.
The studio audience is telling us it's time to call time because there's an AC/DC cover band getting set up here in a little bit. But I got a couple questions left, if that's okay.
Rock and roll.
One, I'm taking a bold chance here, Dump Truck. I don't have a nickname.
Uh-oh.
Okay, you know a little bit about myself. What do you think?
Here's the thing that's hard, is that you are a very unique person. You definitely, you add to the room. Whenever you ask someone a question, I mean, podcast aside, that doesn't change. Like, you actually want the answer. Like, if you ask someone how their day was, you want to know how their day was. It wasn't a thing you say in passing. And that type of genuine communication is rare, and it's needed more often. And I feel like, I don't know, man.
Well, you think about
It's
it.
gonna come to me. I mean, it's on the tip
just
of my
wait, you have a
cerebral
weekend.
cortex right
You have a
now.
weekend. Okay, wrap it up though, Dump Truck. So what's next? You're here in Milwaukee. What are you doing the next couple weeks?
We're on the road for about 8.5 weeks in our Black Series camper. Sawicki Speed is on the road, just preaching handmade, American-made 2-in-1 stainless steel exhaust here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the Harley-Davidson
Have one.
120
Love
Homecoming.
it. Love
Man,
it.
Screamer,
Love it.
right?
Yep.
Love it.
Love
We got some other things we're gonna do with that pipe, and Mama tried as well. And then next stop, we're gonna go to Bass Acres and harass Kevin Bass and
All
Teach
right.
and everybody that's over there. Go to the Vintage Motorcycle Show. Sponsored by, I think, Dennis Kirk is running that one.
Awesome.
And then, of course, there's this thing called Sturgis Motor Pickle Rally. And for the first time, I'll be camped out with Mama Try.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to be at full
Bring
throttle
your
salute.
earplugs.
Yes, please. Yeah, I'm not even snoring, but you'll think I am. And then we've got a Overland event, actually, in Loveland, Colorado, Overland Expo. And where, if you like being outside, that's really the room. And then you have Four Corners Motorcycle Rally in Durango, Colorado. And then I set my hair on fire and get home as fast as possible because the road trips are done for the year.
Home is where?
Nice.
Home is Charlotte, North Carolina.
Got it. Okay, well, we're wrapping it up. Dump Truck, thank you for spending your afternoon or morning with us.
Yeah,
Hey, man, I had to Bloody
Yeah.
Mary. It was easy.
Yeah.
I'm clapping it up for you.
Yeah.